The House of Representatives has directed its Committee on Banking and Currency to investigate the alleged indiscriminate ATM charges issued by commercial banks. The House observed that the banks are not complying with the directive of the Central Bank of Nigeria on ATM withdrawals.
The House observed that commercial banks charge customers 65 naira for every single cash withdrawal made in automated teller machines domiciled in other banks. Also observed that these illegal charges from every cash withdrawal is an indirect measure applied by banks to shortchange customers who use other banks' automated teller machines. Note that these illegal charges by banks is a flagrant abuse of the CBN directive that 65 naira deduction starts to apply from the fourth transaction withdrawal on other banks' ATM in a month. Disturbed that the Central Bank of Nigeria, being the regulatory body of the banks, has not taken any reasonable and punishing measure to sanction banks engaged in this sharp and illegal practice of 65 naira deduction from customers. Alarmed that the docile approach of CBN to its regulatory responsibility, if allowed to continue, may give banks the impetus to embark on other spurious charges which will grossly affect customers.
Smugglers who see the Ember month as a peak period for their criminal activities have been advised to stop such illegal acts. This is coming from the Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service in Zone A in Ikeja, Lagos. Mr. Omar Dahiru says his men intercepted various prohibited items in 98 different seizures in the month of September. The service also recovered about 30 million naira from owners of vehicles and other goods who tried to beat the system at the seaports and border stations. The naira appreciated against two of the three major currencies at the interbank spot market today. The local currency grew by 1.14% to trade at 306 naira 71 kobo and 0.31% to 400 naira 54 kobo against the British pound. But on the other hand, it declined by 1.54% to close at 358 naira 97 kobo against the euro. At the parallel market, the naira shows signs of stability following reports that the international monetary transfer agencies have started selling dollars to BDC operators. The Nigerian Stock Exchange recovered slightly and rose for the first time in the start of October. That's after trading began this week, and this is coming after two negative sessions. Bisi Adebayo has more on today's market activity.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Reports. The local stock market recorded its first positive session this week after 3 straight days of bearish trade. The all-share index appreciated by 0.08% to end Thursday's session at 28,031.9 with a market capitalization of 9.62 trillion naira. Investors exchanged 348.8 million shares valued at 2.64 billion naira in 3,366 deals. Cornwell, 7-Up Bottling Company and Flour Mills of Nigeria were the top 3 gainers for this session. Wapco was the day's top loser with 9.49%. Ashaka Cement was next with 7.62%, while Owando lost 5%. Access Bank, Fidelity Bank and Custodian and Allied Insurance were the top volume drivers for this session. That ends the stock market reports. I am Bisi Adebayo.
Thank you so much, Bisi. Now let's check out how global markets are doing. In China, it remains closed for the Golden Week holiday, but Asian markets were up today. However, it was mixed sentiment for global equities, with attention focused on the U.S. September jobs data, which is due on Friday. And with those numbers, we wrap up business news. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melinda Akinlami.
PZ Cussons Nigeria Limited says despite the economic challenges, it's poised for growth as it ended the 2016 financial year with a dividend of 50 kobo per share. At the company's annual general meeting, the chairman of PZ Cussons, Chief Kolawole Jamodu, says its balance sheet remains strong with total assets of 74.4 billion naira.
God bless Nigeria. I join you in that.
Shareholders at the 68th Annual General Meeting of PZ Cussons Nigeria Limited. The shareholders engaged in series of votings and approvals, including a unanimous agreement to the recommended 50 kobo per share as dividend for the 2016 financial year. However, the fluid economic situation in the country caused a drop in the company's profit.
We had a slight drop in turnover. Our PBT increased, or our margins took an appreciable increase. However, because of exchange loss provision, we took a drop of about 2.7 billion.
Shareholders made the observations and suggestions on how the company can rebound.
If we divert all our reserves to promote that export sales, the future will be bright. But the federal government has made us realize that with the 60% allocation to a manufacturing company, our board will be prudent enough to quickly divert it into agricultural-oriented products.
PZ Cussons regards the current economic challenge as transitory, maintaining a positive stance to optimize operational efficiencies.
We've been pricing our products, looking and taking into account our replacement costs, which is this about 300. By the time we start selling, we start recouping. Hopefully, if things don't get terrible, our end of the year will not be as bad as we thought it would be.
Looking ahead, the company's shareholders remain hopeful that there would be an improved performance in the next financial year.
Premium Pensions Limited has announced plans to establish branches in all local government areas across the country as part of plans to improve customer relations. The managing director of Premium Pensions Limited, Mr. Wilson Ideva, told Channels Television that it's his desire to ensure pensioners live better lives after retirement.
The World Pension Summit, organized recently, will no doubt influence ways pension fund administrators in the country carry out their operations if the recommendations of the summit are put to practice. One of such pension fund administrator that has promised to utilize the lessons learned at the summit is Premium Pension. After receiving 2 awards at the summit, officials of the company promised to keep its flag flying high.
In the past 1 year, we've gotten about, I think, over 5 awards. And I don't know whether to say the mother or the father of all the awards is the 2 awards given to us at the last World Pension Summit. In that competition, we came out with 2 prizes. The only PFA to have done so, both in Nigeria and Africa.
Managing Director of Premium Pensions announces some of their plans for the next few years.
We are in 36 states of the Federation, and soon, in our next phase, we are going to start spreading to every local government. So, because we have long knew that we are in a rated business, you have to be sure that if somebody wants to inquiries about pension, it will see someone to talk to.
Besides this, the company also wants Nigerians to trust in its abilities to pay up their benefits upon retirement, considering its giant stride towards the attainment of over 400 billion naira worth of asset and over 800,000 enrollees.
In the last 12 years, there have not been any known fraud within the pension industry. We are running this business for the past 12 years, and there have not been any fraud. It's not because they are different Nigerians. The difference is that the checks and balances that have been set in the contributory pension scheme cannot and will not allow for fraud.
While pledging to ensure good corporate governance in all of its dealings, officials of Premium Pension Limited also promise to contribute significantly to the nation's socio-economic development in the days ahead.
Next on the news at 10, the league management company confirms Heartland FC's relegation from the Nigeria Professional Football League. And that's on sports. Do stay with us.